But welcome everyone. I'll do a recap of what happened last time. What happened last time is Ruzad the Blasting fell asleep while on watch, and an entire caravan of silver was stolen from under his nose. It's amazing you didn't notice,
1
really.
ton of silver.
Those horses, yeah, all 1 ton. Absolutely 1 ton of silver. There was in no way any of that missing. 1 whole ton of silver in a carriage stolen in the middle of the night by some very, very stealthy horses by the first party, a group of senior members of the Guild of Icons who appear to have just made a run for it. Now, they have been tracking this party for about a day and a half now. Actually about 2.5 days now, and they're getting pretty close. The tracks are still reasonably fresh, but they encountered quite a vicious pairing of creatures, 2 owlbears in the woods. And hold on a second, my microphone just went chunk. Okay, no, it's all right. It's still there. We're good. Googled no, and so yeah, there was a desperate attempt to tame the owlbears by Corin that was going pretty well, all told, but in the end, unfortunately, didn't succeed, and the taming attempt very quickly turned into a mauling and murdering attempt. But with that finished,
we say attempt, but it succeeded. We did maul them.
Oh yeah, that's true. You did succeed to maul and kill those 2 owlbears. They are dead at your feet. And
Corin cried all the way through it.
Yeah. But, you know, there's a silver lining to all that, and that silver lining, of course, is experience points. But you've had a long day. It is the end of the day now, so you've not lost any time. And you have pretty much... you think you can't be too far behind, but you're all pretty injured. Greenmane went down in the fight.
I did not.
Oh no, you just about survived.
No, I did.
You were lobbed to safety at one point. I know Eao went down.
Oh right, no. I just got healed up like before I actually went down.
Just in. No, actually, you both went down. I remember there were medicine checks on both of you. That had to happen, I'm pretty sure.
I did a medicine check on Corin.
Ah, that's it. Okay, it was your.
I was prone because Gaby pulled me away. That's why I had to get up.
That's why you're upside down. Yeah. So Gaby wrenched you away from the owlbears and tossed you on the ground to safety, and in quite a tense fight.
Process.
But
apparently we did, like, Nick had a look at my sheets and went, oh, he should have had an extra 5 H points. And I'd be like, he would have survived that fight and carried Greenmane away.
Yeah, I may have messed up with Lee's character sheet, unfortunately. So Corin is a good deal more powerful now than she has been all
So
3
what
months.
you're telling me is a clerical error almost led to our TPK.
Yes. And who do I blame for this? Anyone but me. So so now
don't blame me, I wasn't here.
Well, that's great, because we only blame you.
So I presume you're all going to rest up now, it being the end of the day. I mean, you can push on and continue if you would like. It will now cost, because previously you got 1 push on without risking exhaustion, but this time you will be risking exhaustion if you push on. And the sun is now setting below the horizon.
I believe we did say that we were going to rest up the previous session.
Okay, resting up. Okay, give me an order for watch. Who's taking first watch?
I'll go first.
That
sounds like a good bet.
I'll go next.
I'll take the morning watch.
Okay. So in order, can you all roll me a d20, please?
A d20?
Yeah. Just in order for who's in the watch order.
Yeah.
It's just to determine how your evening goes. It's not a perception check, or it's not a check. It's just
18.
18's fine.
18.
18's also fine.
12.
12. Grounded, can you also roll me a perception check, please?
Oh no.
Greenman, you were going after that, right? What was your...
Three.
3, okay. Okay.
I think that's okay because I'm
think
back on
that?
1 now.
You might think that. I couldn't possibly comment.
Okay, so moving
21.
to Brave has fixed a lot of things, but I don't have a I can't see any of the chat or any of the messages coming out.
I think chat is just missing at the moment.
Should be in the top right.
But the thing,
I was going to say it should be in the top right with the speech bubble.
On the right, I just have
I've opened the
start
speech
messaging.
bubble. Yeah, it says.
Oh, yeah, I just
type
see
in
the
message
beer cup
start.
and...
Do you not get
Yeah.
an
Oh,
OWO
that was the
from
OWO.
Aao Dunwich? Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, now I do.
I just
Let's see.
I was going to say, keep in mind we weren't rolling
There we
in
go.
there. We were rolling actual dice.
I
Yeah,
did
no,
try
but
to say
I was
peepers in
rolling
chat
in there.
before, but it didn't work.
I got a natural 20.
Okay. Grounded, what was your perception roll?
21.
21. Okay, so in the night, while you're looking out, I'm going to assume you've climbed up somewhere high because that's your usual sort of thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? So you in the area that we've got here, there is this high tree up here. So I'm presuming you're sort of up there. So in the night, what you see is you can see the flicker of fires. Not a lot of fires. Looks like a campfire or two. It can't be more than 2 or 3 miles away, and you can see it over the trees because you're sort of quite high up. Looks like from where you are, it looks like not far away, maybe about a mile or so away. The forest pretty much opens out to a lot of hills, and a mile further on one of the hills, you can see a flickering fire.
Okay. Is there anything in particular I might recognise about this fire? Like
Well, you are chasing
how high up
someone,
it is? Or...
and it does look a bit like a campfire. So it could be them. It could be someone completely different, of course. You don't know. From your position, it would be very hard to tell, because 2 miles away. If you had someone who was able to see something perfectly 2 miles away, they might be able to tell. But they're currently asleep.
Okay. I slide down my tree and give Corin a nudge. Try not to wake up Gaby.
I love the breastfed as a child.
Again. Yes, of course you won't.
It's the peak. You can't really suckle.
Can we use that word on Twitch? Do you
So
mind?
you're interested in my father?
I don't even want to think about those owlbears. Would you mind Would you mind taking those goggles of yours and looking at something for me?
Do I have a yes? Let's even have a look.
I assume that's
I
yes,
don't,
I mind.
sir. I mean that yes, I will go up. You look strange. Yes, I'm going up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you head up. I'm going to need a perception check from you, Corin. Now, ordinarily, to see anything that's in darkness, it's at disadvantage. But I'm pretty sure you negate all of that nonsense with your special glasses. I can't quite 100% remember, but I'm pretty sure you can see
And
in
I believe
darkness
I get,
and light.
and yeah, and I believe I get advantage as well.
Yeah.
With the glasses.
Okay. Well, roll your advantage and let me know what it is.
Yep. My best roll is 16.
16. Okay, so with a 16, you can see with your ridiculous night vision goggles of 2 mile sight. What you can see in the distance over there is there's definitely a campfire. You can see a couple of tents. The area is quite hilly. There's a rock tor up there, so a lot of stacked rocks that are sort of natural formation that you'd be familiar with as a ranger. And the tents are sort of huddled in there, using them for shelter. It's quite a sort of open approach. You can't see how many people there are because obviously they're inside the tents, presumably. There are 2 tents, and they look like 2-man tents, but obviously they could be bundling up a little close. However, on the top of the tour, what you can see is you can see a figure there, silhouetted against the moon. She's quite thin. She's definitely a she. And the reason you can see so much is because occasionally she's flicking open her hand, and a little candle flame is appearing, floating on her palm, and then she closes it again.
Corin goes back.
Thing to be doing while you're on watch.
Yes, Corin goes back down to Grounded and says, "Oh, I thought you were a prostitute."
Yeah, I get that a lot, but I'm actually a pit fighter.
You do get that a lot, actually. Yeah. Okay, so that's the information you've gleaned from Corin Edric. I, for one, love that the greatest source of information only has 5 sentences that she can say.
No, I have. How many do I have? I have 71.
Oh, but they're all useless.
Yes.
I mean,
I don't have
Hey,
any cookies
alright.
today.
you can draw
I
things
hand her
perfectly if you need to.
Yeah, I hand her one of my sheets of paper and a pencil. Oh, okay, wait, do I have... No, I don't have a pencil, a bit of ash from the fire.
That'll
The
work.
pencil, because I'm a scholar. That's my background. Yes. Okay. Do I? Well, what's it called? I've got perfect mimicry, so I can just say I draw it out for her.
Yep. You don't need to make a check to
Yeah.
reproduce anything like this because you're a Kenku. You can mimic something perfectly, and that includes written things and images you've seen. So yeah, the image is exactly what you've seen.
And I sneak in a sheep in the corner there.
There's a weirdly square sheep in the corner. Mm-hmm. Like it's bizarrely
Look at
square.
this photograph.
But yeah, you have an identifit basically of what Corin's seen, and reasonably you probably all recognise it. Well, I suppose Grounded probably recognises the figure, because the figure looks somewhat like Olorel the Firefawn, who you briefly fought alongside, not against, before she and the others stole all that silver.
Okay, so
Corin points at the sheep and thumbs ups.
Wait. Is that a knoll? Is that a knoll?
A knoll has never looked that square.
No.
Grounded
No,
probably
just
thinks
tell
all
me.
knolls
Not
are fair.
that much like
Where
Bessie.
knows?
As for the rest of your watch, nothing much happens. But you do know that as they're only about 2 miles away, you could get to them in about half an hour at a normal walking pace. If you ran, you could get there even faster. They are going to have to, before they leave in the morning, they are going to have to hitch up horses to wagons and everything like that. So, you do know that if you were to really book it, you could get there before they leave.
Okay.
But you don't have to do it in the middle of the night, critically. Although you could. But it wouldn't count as a
Please
long
don't.
rest.
And
I
I was going to say,
I mean,
considering some of
we-
us need long rest, I
Ooh,
would
we
say
really need that long
probably
rest.
Not a good idea.
Could I try scouting ahead while everyone else rests?
You absolutely can. Given its...
Do you want to take Gaby with you?
You could.
Please no.
Nope. Reminds me of the Knolls. So the approach is going to be reasonably easy in the forest bit. I'm not going to require any rolls for that. But once you get onto the plains, you are going to have to approach stealthily. For that, I'm going to need a stealth check.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we get eaten by owl bears because no one was on one.
Yeah, speaking of which, Greenmane, can you give me a perception check, please? I'll need it for your watch in a minute.
Okay, that's a 11 on stealth.
Okay, let me just check something. Just check something on Olorel's stat sheet, but I'm pretty sure you get advantage. Yes, you do.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, you get advantage.
Okay.
She has dark vision, but that only lasts for 60 feet. After that, it's... In fact, actually, she can't see you until you're 60 feet away.
Oh, that's only well, that only increases it to 12 anyway.
Okay, so I'm running this on your ability to avoid making a lot of noise as you approach, but it's grassland, so it's not too bad. There's a little bit of rustling, but there's wind going on. You're okay. For now. Now, you are probably about 300 feet away at this point, and you've got a good line of sight. You're able to see most of the tour now. You can see that there is only one figure in view at the moment. The rest are clearly in the tents. You can see the cart, and the cart is set up there. The horses are tied up to a bit of heavy lumber that's nearby. Well, I say lumber, it's more like a tree trunk that's fallen down. And the cart is there, unattended currently. It is right next to the tents, though, so you're going to have to get right up there.
Where's the fire in relative to the carts and the tents?
So the fire's about 40 feet from the carts. The tent is sort of next to the cart, but close to the fire, so it's sort of between fire and tent. So I would say it's about 10 feet from the fire, 20 feet from the cart. And it is itself 10 feet long. I think that adds up, but there's probably a 10 feet lost somewhere in there.
Right. And whereabouts is the keep forgetting what her name is.
The fire fawn. She is actually on top of the tor, so she is a good 30 feet up on a rock. Essentially, just sat there looking out.
Okay. So presumably she can see both the tents and basically everything.
Yep, she can see the tents. The tents are below her feet, basically, and so is the cart. She's got good line of sight from her position, but she's also immediately visible to everyone. Not least because she keeps flicking a small flame in her hand, but she doesn't care so much for stealth compared to the others.
Okay, so can I sort of quietly approach the rocks and use my slippers to climb up them and stay around that way, so I'm not quite in her line of sight?
Okay, you can do that. There's a ridge beforehand which you can get up to without being in line of sight, because there's a lot of heavy grasses and that sort of thing to make things harder to see. As you get to the ridge, though, you are going to be getting pretty close to her now, and anything further than that, I'm going to need fresh stealth checks for every movement. And I have a passive perception here. Okay.
Okay, can I try and quietly climb up the rock?
You absolutely can. If you're climbing up, it's not a very high rock here on this ridge. It's only about 10 feet. It's not a problem for you, of course, because you've got the slippers of spider climbing anyway, so you can just walk up it. I don't think we'll have to risk you making any noise doing that. But if you want to crest that ridge, you are immediately going to have to make a stealth check to remain hidden.
Right. Okay. So is she sort of looking around all ways, or is she just sort of glancing in the same
mostly staring into space, sort of just looking around in general, but not really. She's not like doing a proper watch. She looks pretty bored, so she's not looking around constantly. But in order to sort of exploit the timings between when she's looking towards you and when she's looking in another direction, that's definitely going to be stealth.
Okay. Just checking to see what I've got in my inventory. Okay, I'm going to take my my bag of ball bearings and try and quietly roll them around the top of the rock she's standing on.
Oh, to be clear, you are nowhere near the rock she's standing on.
Oh, right, sorry.
You are still about 50 feet away from the base of that rock, but the gap between where you are and that rock is open ground, and directly in her line of sight, which is why it would be stealth to get in there.
Oh. Okay. In that case, I'm just going to try and sneak a bit closer.
Okay.
And take a peek in the nearest tent.
Okay, give me a stealth check, please. If it's not running for you, just roll dice as usual.
Okay.
Pardon me.
That's a 13.
Breathed in my tea. Okay, 13. Okay. So you scamper up that ridge and crawl along the grass, keeping an eye up at the Firethorn to double check when she's looking away and when she's looking at you. And so far so good. You make it up to the tents, which are sort of about 30 feet from that ridge, so you make it up to the tents. Now you're able to hide in the shadow of the tents, sort of having it block line of sight a little bit. So currently you're not seen, but again, if you move out into the open again, it'll be another stealth check.
Okay, so can I see into the tents?
From where you are, absolutely. You're right up against the fabric of it, and you can try and give it a lift and take a look. I'm gonna say, given the loud snoring you can hear, you probably don't have to worry about a stealth check to open that. So as you pull open the what is it, tent flap. As you pull open the tent flap, the snoring gets louder, and what you can see is the man you know of as Hosk, the butcher, the large, extremely hairy, muscular man, holding a shorter but still extremely hairy man close to his chest in they're in separate sleeping bags, but it rather looks like the two have rolled together to huddle for a bit of warmth.
This is what I get.
And they're both snoring loudly, but they seem quite comfortable, and they seem quite deeply asleep as well.
Okay, so Hoss the leader, and he had the stone to contact what's his face, didn't he?
Indeed, he did. Yes.
Okay, can I see that anywhere?
Not immediately visible, but it might be in his clothes, which are bundled on the floor next to his sleeping bag.
Okay, I try and quietly rummage through his clothes to see if I can find it.
Okay, roll me a stealth check again.
This is going to go so well.
And I'm going to say because they are deeply asleep with advantage.
Okay, that doesn't seem to want to go through, so I'm just going to roll my die.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm just rolling dice anyway, so...
Okay, so that's... Yep. That is a 17, and... another 17.
Well, 17's enough. They are quite deeply asleep. So you're able to rifle through the pockets, and so the first thing you find is a handkerchief with more than a week's encrusted snot in it. The next thing you find in there is a handful of leather jerky. Or leathery jerky, not leather jerky. He's not eating literal boots, but leathery jerky in the same pocket. And then right at the bottom is the sending stone itself, and you are able to take that and put that in your inventory. I mean, you can put the other bits in your inventory as well if you want.
Yeah, I just take the jerky without even thinking.
Just take the jerky. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's been in exactly the same pocket as the extremely snotty handkerchief, but sure.
It's a very jerk move.
I mean, we are talking about husks, so are you sure it's just not pieces of leather that he's chewing on?
It could be leather. It could be leather, actually. You're not 100% sure. Either way, it tastes all right. So yeah, add a little bit of leather jerky to your inventory, and also one sending stone. Anything else you'd like to do while you're in the tent? Hosk suddenly goes and rolls over.
You know what? I'll do something slightly mean.
Okay.
I scatter a bag of caltropes outside the entrance to the tent door as I leave.
Okay. All right, that's fine. You don't need to make a check for that because that's a silent activity. You can do that. You can scatter caltropes outside. Sure. And are you just heading back to your camp, or are you staying around?
I'll sneak over to the carts.
Okay. To break the gap between cart and tent, I am going to need another stealth check.
Okay, let's hope this doesn't backfire.
I mean, statistically, it will eventually, but that was a pretty good roll. At 24, will keep you hidden. Yeah, you're fine on the way to the tent. On the way to the cart, and you make it over there. So the cart it's looking a bit battered still. The parts of it are very creaky. Because it's been sort of rough ridden on the road for the last 2.5 days or so. So it's mostly fresh. It's going to be fine. It's just, chipped paintwork, that sort of thing.
Okay. Is there anything in the cart apart from the silver?
There is what looks like a barrel of rations in there. You're not sure where they got them from because they didn't bring any. But you have passed a few places, so maybe they've stolen them. Or paid for them with silver.
Okay.
It doesn't look like a ton of silver is there, certainly, so they may have spent some of it.
Yeah. Who could have possibly taken that much silver?
They must have just bought rations at an extraordinarily expensive price.
Yeah. Still can't believe anyone in this guild would steal that much silver.
Thieves in the guild, honestly. Unthinkable.
I wonder if they accidentally just bought something off the hag with the silver.
They might have
Or
bought
just
something
from
off
the
the
potion seller.
They could have bought potions, you never know.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
so many jars of dirt.
What would you like to do in your current position?
Right. So, 2 things I want to do. First, I want to just sort of... Can I loosen a few bolts in the cart to sort of make sure it will fail at some point?
Sure. Do you have any tools to do that?
Tools. I mean, I've got thieves' tools, but I can't remember what those are, but I don't think they include wrenches or anything.
I mean, you can attempt to use thieves' tools to do that.
You also have a crowbar.
Yeah, but that might be a bit loud.
Might be a touch loud, yeah.
Oh wait, I've got Alchemist Tools. Could I sort of maybe use acid or something to foul up the one of the bearings so it eventually breaks?
You probably only have a little bit of acid, but that might be enough to take one of the bearings out. Like, if you were trying to break something sizable, I'd say you probably wouldn't be able to do it with alchemist supplies. But to break a small and crucial part, possibly. In order to identify a good part for that, though, I'm going to need an investigation check. If you have any knowledge of land vehicles or proficiency in land vehicles, you can add that. But if you don't, just a straight investigation check, please.
Okay.
Okay, and while that's being rolled, just double checking. Would you count pliers as a makeshift wrench, Nick?
No.
So it's nothing. You wouldn't say I would get enough torque to do it.
Probably not for this sort of thing. If it was for, like, breaking a clockwork, like a tiny clockwork instrument or something, sure. But for a carriage, it's going to be something heavier. That's a good investigation roll, though. 18 is good, so you can determine by looking at it and your knowledge of mechanics, basically, you know, just by looking at where things must be turning, you can find the linkage there between. I'm going to say this isn't a particularly complex bit of machinery. It's not like you've got a steering wheel or anything like that. So I'm going to say you are able to find one of the bearings in one of the wheels. So what you can do is apply some acid to that. That's going to have the effect of making that warp enough that it's not going to turn. So it's a bit like, you know, when you've got a shopping trolley and one wheel just does not want to cooperate. It's going to be like that, but on a carriage. So they are still going to be able to move it, but it's going to be much slower. Probably half speed.
Okay. And next thing, I'm going to take them. Right, I'm going to leave, but I'm going to take that barrel of rations with me.
Okay. It's not a huge barrel, so taking that with you won't be too hard. I'd say it's the kind that you could sort of fit under your arm, one-handed.
Okay. Can I sort of quietly tip it over, and just take everything out so it looks like a wild animal got into it or something?
You'd have to break it open with something. You do have a crowbar, but it might be loud.
Okay, I'll just take the barrel then.
Okay. So you're taking a barrel with you and trying to stealthily make your way back now, or are you continuing on?
Yeah, I think I'll call it there.
Okay, I'm going to need a stealth check, please. And I'm going to need that at disadvantage for your trip back to the ridge. Because you are now carrying a barrel.
It's just a tiny barrel.
Just a little thing.
Okay.
That's a 10.
You make it to the ridge, and you climb down. You scuttle across the grass. I will need a dexterity saving throw, please.
I think I've got advantage in that. I mean, not advantage, proficiency. That's a 10.
Okay. Okay. In a flash of red light, she and Hestia, her wildfire fox, appear next to you. You are going to take 4 fire damage.
Ouch.
And she's going to attempt to wrench the barrel from you. So roll.
I need to feed my children.
Athletics or acrobatics, whichever one you fancy. And she's going to roll acrobatics to try and steal it from you. Okay. She got a 13, and you've been so you've still got it. Now.
Yes.
She's going to lean in and say, "If I were you, I would take the loss, and I would not come back." And she gestures at Hestia, who is currently running around her feet in a spiral, and says, "You know what this thing can do. You know what I can do. I don't even need to wake them up. What I haven't done right now is followed you back and set fire to every single one of your tents while you're asleep in it. But I will. Leave it alone. Leave me the barrel and never come back."
Could we make a deal? Maybe I could take the silver instead.
Now, why would you want that?
Well, why'd you take it in the first place?
It's silver. It shines so lovely. I said again, you know what I can do. You are no match for me.
Okay, I shove her over, drop try and drop some caltrops behind me and leg it.
Okay, so as a shove, that's going to be a grapple attempt. So use your athletics or acrobatics. She's going to contest with her acrobatics. She got a 7. You got a 23. She definitely falls backwards. And you're dropping the caltropes, and you are presumably booking it as quickly as you can. Now, you have a movement speed of 60 feet because you can dash as a bonus action. Her movement speed is 45, so she is going to be slower than you. And the reason her movement speed is 45 is because she can teleport. But she doesn't need to. Okay. She laughs, and you can hear her laughing as you run into the distance. And what's your AC?
It is 14.
14. Okay, so 2 of those are going to hit you. And you are going to take, as 2 scorching rays of energy strike your back, 16 points of fire damage.
No resistance, right?
Oh, yeah, I have fire resistance.
Do you?
Yep, Tiefling.
Of course. Oh, that's convenient.
Don't have more inch on my face for fun.
And she stands up and just watches you go. Chuckles, turns her back, and heads back to the camp.
Okay, since that's no longer going to happen, I'm gonna say what would have been a really funny solution for us to do would have been to sneak in with our entire camp and just set up tents.
Inside their tents,
pretend
yes.
nothing happened.
So, Greenmane, what was your perception check?
18.
Okay, you definitely see Grounded returning. You can also smell her returning because part of her, her hair is slightly singed.
But only half as much of it as would be.
Indeed, it's not all singed. It's only half singed.
It's an undercut now.
Yeah. But you definitely see her come back, and you have no idea where she went.
Hey, you weren't here when I woke up to replace the watch. What were you up to?
Oh, well, you know those guys who took the silver and everything? I found them. The bad news is, I sort of tried to steal all their rations, and they noticed me. But on the plus side, we got all their rations.
Oh, good.
I've actually been sort of eating the rations on the way here.
Not the jerky then.
Not the jerky.
Not the bit of old.
Well, I'd already started.
That's your emergencies.
Yeah. I mean, I'd already started on the jerky while I was searching, but then I just found the rations, so... Yeah.
Okay, that's one way to use the Outlander feat.
Yeah,
Just as a question, how many days are we out from the city at the moment?
If I bring you back to the world map, let me show you. I think you're about halfway at the moment. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're about there, where I've put Corin. So you're 1, 2, 3 to 4 days, depending on how fast you go. Out at the moment.
Okay, so we could possibly hang just back enough for 2 days to let them possibly get some exhaustion. What with the fact that they now have no food.
Sure.
I also messed up their cart a bit, so that might...
Yeah, so that should slow them down a bit.
It's worth knowing they do have a druid that you knew. You know they have a druid, and druids are very good at survival, so they can still go and hunt for food.
True.
They might also have gooseberry.
I'd also like to bring up that breaking the cart like that may serve to our disadvantage, because even if we could get... If it lets us catch up to them, then we have a broken cart.
It'll just take us longer to get back to the city.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to it's not like we're trying to run from anyone, is it? Okay,
I
well,
was going to say it's more likely that we're either going to talk them into letting us take the silver back, or they're going to let us take the silver back because they have no choice.
Yeah.
I don't think so with this group.
So Dawn arrives.
If they're dead, they don't have a choice.
Yeah, that's true. Dawn arrives.
I think that's what Ross was referencing.
And you're able to break camp. What's the plan?
Did I get any health back, by the way?
You won't have gotten health back from your nighttime excursion, no.
Okay, in that case, I use my healer feat to bandage myself up a bit.
Oh, you can treat it as a short rest though, if you want. If you want to use hit die.
Oh yeah.
Because we can't rely on them getting exhaustion. Maybe wait until the night time and then go in while some of them are asleep and try and catch them a bit unawares. Because we know where they are. We know we're right within distance of them. So we can plan
you
this
also
out a
have
bit
someone
better.
who can keep eyes on them pretty easily.
Yeah. They might not be able to tell us what the hell's going on. They can keep eyes on them.
They can tell you everything. Just
Sorry, let me rephrase. They might not be able to tell us in a language we can understand. Because none of us can understand Radian.
I haven't ever watched the Glarus read game.
Yeah, assuming we're following just a bit behind once they set up camp and start going to sleep. Assuming we don't push ourselves today, we can go in and get the initiative on that.
We won't even need to go fast today. We can go normal speed too.
I mean,
so we've got
have
no disadvantage on checks. So
that's not necessarily true. We have to match their speed.
And they have a broken cult.
Oh, in which case we're going slow, so we've got an advantage on stealth.
What I'm getting at is that if they decide they're going to book it, we also have to book it for this plan to work. For this plan to work, we have to match their speed.
yes, although bear in mind their cart is slightly broken now.
We have to match their speed, and we have to conserve enough energy so we're not taking, say, exhaustion as we wait out the night for them to sleep.
Okay, so as you are so close to your quarry, we won't be doing encounter checks on the way because the encounter is 2 miles ahead of you and basically scaring off all of the local wildlife that you'd normally be going up against. So because they are going to be going,
So wait for them to get in trouble with owl bears, and then ambush them.
because they're going to be going at half speed, you do not have to worry about
Buddy and Babe
exhaustion to catch
2.0.
up with them unless they go for longer than a standard 8-hour journey. So the lot of you just trundle along quite slowly, and you make half a square's progress as the day goes on. And as best,
Actually, as we're following behind them, I'm going to ask Grounded for the sending stone.
You don't know about it.
How would you know about it?
Which you know about
Oh,
because I mentioned it. Because I sensibly mentioned it.
I assumed when Grounded was mentioning, that was like implied that she would have mentioned that as well.
Basically up to you, grounded on whether you've told anyone about that. You can have, or you can not have. Your choice.
Yep, I hand her the sending stone.
Okay. So, you've got the sending stone.
And as we're kind of just, trundling along, I'm going to fall back a bit and use the sending stone.
Okay. So, you hear in your head this sound that sounds a bit like... It almost sounds like pigeons. Just constantly, just occasionally just...
That's Corin's mother's name.
Just constantly. You're waiting there and that's all you hear is... And then suddenly... Hey, what? Who? What? Oh, Jesus, before 10! What?
It's Eao from the B team again.
What's happened?
Some small developments. The A team has stolen the silver for themselves and are currently running with it.
They've what?
They've stolen the silver.
Alright, I've got an idea. They will have to come here, right? There's nowhere else they can spend it, realistically. You're not going to spend a ton of silver anywhere outside of the city. So, they've got to come here. I'll tip off the guard, and we'll be waiting for them. It'll be easy. They think they're coming over to a hero's welcome, but I'll have the very best. Not the watch, but the actual... the bastion guard, the very best. They'll be there, and they'll get the blighters, and everyone's good. Yes. So that sounds good. Lure them here. Make sure they don't suspect anything, and I'll see you soon for brandy.
Wait.
And he goes goodbye, and
no,
and he's gone.
Let's make sure they're the ones to show up at the gate with the silver because I don't want to get arrested. Seen the title. I've seen the title.
Hey, that's metagame. But it might be there just for this reaction, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to the party and mention that the drunk man wishes for us to just fall back and lure them to the city.
No, I mean, if those were our orders.
I mean, we'll just keep an eye on them on the way there. Because
At the
you
very-
don't want
at the-
them to go in a different direction.
At the
I
very
think
least,
you're
what
the
we
kind of girl for this kind of club.
what we should
Yeah,
do
no,
is
thank you.
we should pull back maybe just a bit further and then match their pace again. That way we can make sure they're not going to turn around and try to go somewhere else.
Let's win by doing
just
absolutely
make
nothing.
sure that they actually head towards the Sundered City.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so
Although
If they go
actually,
somewhere else, that's not going to help.
although perhaps falling back a bit further may not be a smart idea. Perhaps keeping our distance we have right now, just
I
in
was gonna
case
say, it's probably better
they're
to keep the
attacked.
distance we've got right now. Yeah.
Yeah, just in case they're attacked by, say,
Ghosts? Or, wait, that's metagame. I don't know. the name of the-
or more of the people from Garaki. That way we can come in and be opportunistic.
could happen. It could happen. They're still out there. And of course, you do know that they would have survived. Like you've seen into those portals. You know that there were clerics waiting. So they could come back at any time. I mean, all they need technically is 8 hours sleep and they're back up. Such is the wonder of the long rest. So, theoretically they could arrive at any
Work it
time.
like that in real life.
And of course, as you know, they know you're here. So if you suddenly slow down, they might get suspicious.
So the plan should be just to keep up pace behind them and make sure they don't try to pre-ambush us.
Yeah, make it look like we're expecting them to eventually get exhausted and then jump them. Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretend to be
Yeah.
endurance spreaders.
Okay, so in order to maintain a safe distance that's not too fast and not too slow, I'm going to say give me, and we'll go with, I think, Eao for this, as this is Eao's plan. Give me a performance check, please. You may have assistance, though, from the party, so roll with advantage.
I mean, a performance
considering
check from Eao.
I know I'm basically asking for you to give me a 25 or something. Wow, okay.
Oh no, this is terrible.
no!
Incredible.
Jay, roll a 1.
With advantage, a 9. When
This
you have a
is- this
plus
is, by the way-
5 to performance.
Yeah, this is my plus 5.
Well, okay,
let's
so
see how much this would have.
I'm going to say that's going to be
Worked
against
out
the
if,
leader's passive insight. And their passive insight is... Huh. Well,
Do they have a wisdom modifier?
yeah, but their passive insight is 9, so it's equal. Because they've got a +1 to wisdom, and your passive is 8 plus your... Oh, plus proficiency, actually. It's a bit higher than... No, it's not plus proficiency. Otherwise, passive perception would be... Oh, yeah, no.
It is plus proficiency.
Yeah.
if
No, yeah,
he
their
has proficiency.
passive insight is higher than that. So they're onto you. But Hosk is not... Let's say Hosk is not an actor. Hosk is not someone who can hide their motivations. They wear their emotions on their sleeve. So, Corin, you're able to immediately see Hosk looking back at you and literally just sort of staring in your direction. And he goes and he talks to his second in command, which is Sundry Garrick. And they have a discussion. And the two of them hop off of the cart and stand in the road waiting for you. The cart continues. And they are just standing there, waiting.
Okay, and the cart's just continuing on.
Cart's continuing behind them. What are you going to do?
In which case, I think we should slowly walk up to them to allow the cart to go further and further away.
Okay. So you approach...
Yeah, while also waiting for Corin to, while we approach, for Corin to confirm that the cart is still moving away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
We
think I
will
should
have
enter
Corin
without
keeping an eye on that.
permission.
there you go. Confirmation. The cart is indeed continuing to move. And... It takes you about half an hour, I'd say, at your current pace to catch
To
up
work
them.
out what Corin's saying, yeah.
And to work out what Corin's saying. But when you catch up to them, they're still just stood there, just waiting. They're right in the middle of the road, just going, what are you playing at them?
Hosk, buddy.
You
know-
shut up. Half-orc,
What?
what are you playing at?
Well, we've still got a job to do, and you're definitely ruining that job.
You're going a bit too bloody slow to pick up this. We've had a broken wheel. We've been going half as fast as we could have been. How come you ain't caught up to us?
You've got me. We're waiting for you to get exhausted.
I mean, we have all the food now.
Through this, I've just been sort of, I've literally been holding the barrel and just eating the rations.
He's going to look at that and his eyes are going to narrow. So you thought we'd just starve ourselves to death, right?
No, half to death. Then we'd come in and finish the job.
What
Well-
the magician said.
It's smart, I'll give you that. Roll me a deception check, please. And
I'm not in
Deception
act.
is
I'm not
mine.
in any act. Actually, no. I still get to roll that at advantage.
Wait, who's rolling the deception?
I'm going to say, because Eao did the predominant conversation, it's going to be Eao rolling. But you can roll with advantage because Ruz is helping.
Yeah. And Bruce is an actor.
Yeah, Ruz is a very good actor. So I'm going to say their help is good and going to give you advantage.
That is a 19.
Okay, that's pretty good. That was convincing. You grew up on the streets of Karaki. You've spent a lot of time lying, and so this is not something that comes hard to you. You know, so particularly for someone who's, shall we say, not quite so logical and rigorous when it comes to thinking as Hosk, the butcher of Craven Rock, it's not too hard to lie to him. His ability to tell if he's being bullshitted is not the best, and you're able to exploit that. And he believes you. He goes, all right, not a bad plan. I'll admit, not a bad plan, but it ain't gonna work.
You know, while we have you here, I do have to say, you still owe me 5 silver for that bet we made earlier on the road.
I can't remember. I can't remember no bet. Take it out of the silver you stole from me.
I'm sure your fist remembers.
You think I can't count?
I mean, I'd
I
say
can
it's a
read
50.
your mind.
I'm just very glad that Grimwing is wearing a mask.
And when per se, would I have stolen said silver?
I don't know. But who's gonna do it if not you?
I mean, you were there when we loaded the silver on the cart. Unless you're saying I somehow stole the silver and then put everything back to look exactly how it was.
All I know is everyone else was very, very busy at the time when we were loading, mostly with being asleep and recovering from injuries and the like. So who else did it, do you reckon? Wasn't me. Wasn't my man
I mean, you stole
Sundry.
the entire cart, didn't you?
I can't help it if you lot sleep too heavy.
I'm just implying if you can steal this much silver, why can't you steal the rest?
I know you did it. I don't know where you hid it, but I know you did it. Must be back there somewhere, and you're just gonna go back and get it sometime. Why don't you leave now and go get it?
Because we don't
Quick
have
question, DM.
Mhm.
Do I notice anyone else of their party nearby at all?
Roll me a perception check, please.
Well, we know
Perception
Sundry's there.
check.
Well, yeah, Sundry's
yeah.
definitely there.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a little harder to see, but he's definitely there.
That is a nat 20 plus 1.
Okay, so you can see up in the air that Ansel is watching you, but he is quite some way away. He's still broadly speaking over the cart, but he's sort of flitting in between, quite high in the air, but a good 200 feet up.
I mean, by the looks of this, it's what? 3 on 5 at best?
Don't test me, sunshine. I do not test well.
You don't seem like the smartest Pyrean.
Alright, that is going to be initiative. Okay. Excellent.
I am so sad that it wasn't me getting that witty retort.
It was going to be someone, and at the moment a witty retort happened, it had to be initiative.
Okay, if it had have gone any longer, I would have just fired off a spell.
Yeah, I was tempted to spell.
We're going
Nah,
to
it's actually
go with the Meadows map again, I think, just for ease of use.
I'm taking you out for good this time.
So position-wise, we are going to have Eao and Ruz at the front because they are the primary participants, and we're going to have the rest of you behind like that. Let me bring in Hosk, and if Hosk is anywhere on it. If not, I'll just grab a random thug again. It doesn't matter, but
Same sprite.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
the same sprite. It doesn't matter.
Sundry Garrick. Oh, I could always bring in the Starspawn Mangler again. That was fun.
Let's do that again.
terrified
Can I
laughter.
actually manage to kick it off the edge this time instead of just killing it?
Well, just don't hit as hard next time. We're just going to bring in a thug for Hosk. It's easier that way. I can't find him on the list.
Iron chance in your back.
Okay, so I'm going to need initiative rolls from everyone, and I will roll initiative for Hosk and Sundry. Okay. So, starting... almost knocked my tea off the desk. Starting from anyone who got more than 20.
Me. 22.
Okay, Corin is up first. And then, who got more than 15? Nope. Okay, who got more than 10?
11.
Oh, 11. Okay, so we've got Green Mane. Okay, who got more than 5? Please.
7.
Okay.
7.
6.
7, 7, and 6.
And that would be Eao above me.
Yeah, okay, so that is then going to be...
No, we could do a cool team combination attack.
Grounded.
I don't know how my mental magic would work with your magic. Throw the cards at them.
All right, top of the
Whisper in
round,
their ears at
it
the same time.
is Corin. You're up first.
I can actually
Alright.
do that. I can actually throw cards at them.
Yeah, you do have the Gambit ability.
They don't
Okay.
explode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do Gaby first.
Okay.
Gaby's just gonna sidestep, and Gaby's gonna try his new charge.
You have to go 20 feet in a straight line. to do
Oh,
that.
hang on.
That's currently 10
Dang it. Alright, well, Gaby's just gonna go up there and maul.
I was going to say, unless you're going for Hosk, in which case it was 15. So if you can just step back just a bit and then charge forward.
Okay, yeah.
feet. There is an
one more.
AO in the way.
Oh, true. In which
That's
case,
just difficult terrain.
AO's just
Yeah, no.
knocked straight down.
you're in line with the Sundry for 20.
Okay, yeah, well then... Gaby's gonna charge from here.
Okay, that works.
Run up to Sundry and do a Gaby maul.
Okay.
That's a 9 to hit.
So that's not going to hit Sundry, I'm afraid.
Ah!
Sundry's wearing quite heavy armor, so that just bounces off him. Because he's only about 4'6", so he's got a really low center of gravity. He's wearing extremely heavy plate mail, so he's basically a concrete bollard. And Gaby's going straight at him and just bouncing off. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I suppose that what's it called? It might have given him the willies for a moment of seeing this gigantic hyena coming for him.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Corin is gonna get out her crossbow or longbow and is gonna try and hit from here on Sundry.
Okay.
No, that's a 7.
Ooh, a natural 1, unfortunately, no. The longbow just goes... The arrow just goes straight over. It sails into the distance. You have real bad luck on the longbow shots. I don't know why. I've never seen as many natural ones as when you've rolled the longbow. But yeah, no, unfortunately that's not worked.
We need a digital dice jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do still have a bonus action if you want to cast any of your bonus action spells.
Yes. I'm trying to remember. Was Ensnaring Strike a bonus
Ensnaring
action
Strike
one?
is a bonus action, but it has to be done before you attack. Because it'll affect the attack you do.
Yeah.
It's concentration, right?
Yes, actually, it does last a little bit longer. So you can do it now, and then it'll be your next attack, provided you take no damage in the interim.
Yep, okay, let's do that.
Okay, so you're getting ready to do an ensnaring strike for your next attack. Okay, with Corin done, we go to Green Mane.
Right. I'm gonna pretend to be smart about this and step over here, curse Hosk, and blast him.
Okay, you're cursing Hosk, and now sending on a big old Eldritch Blast, the crackling energy coming out. What colour's your Eldritch Blast today? Is it green?
Golden, baby.
A golden Eldritch Blast. Wonderful.
Yep, that's an extra 20 as well.
Oh, it's a crit. Excellent. So roll your dice. I'll make a note.
That's 15 plus 3 plus 2, so 20 points of damage.
20 points of damage. Very nice. That hurts. That hurts, Hosk, and he reels. He is not happy about that. He is not happy about anything at the best of times, but he's extremely not happy about that. You can expect to be the brunt of his attention pretty soon. And we go over to Sundry Garrick. Sundry is going to swing at Gaby.
My baby.
And by swing, I mean literally with his fists. He's put him up, and it's just poof, straight in, and that's a miss. That's a 9.
Like
that's not going to hit. And the second one, though, the one following up, that does hit because that is an 18, and that is going to do 9 bludgeoning damage straight to the nose.
Oh,
yeah.
poor Gaby.
And he is actually going to use his superiority die. He's going to make that a pushing attack, which happens when it hits. And that is going to do 3 extra damage. And I'm going to need Gaby to make a strength saving throw, which is just a strength check, I think, with Gaby.
24.
That's fine. Yeah, a 24 is fine. Gaby is unimpressed.
That's a
and he's
natural
just
20.
still there, just going, just like staring. Like Gaby is 10 feet around. Well, not quite 10 feet around, but controls a 10-foot space. That means Gaby's probably a good twice the height of Sundry Garrick, and he's just stood there as Sundry is trying to push him backwards 10 feet with a single fist, and he's just like. Like
that's not how you pet the
bit of drool just coming down and dropping onto Sundry's helmet. But yeah, that's that's Sundry's go, and we go over to Grounded.
Okay.
Wait, we go to who?
Grounded, because it's Grounded, then Eao, then Ross.
I thought it was Eao first.
Grounded had
Wait. Yeah, I got 6.
Of 6.
Yeah.
Ignore me. We go to Eao.
Lower on there.
That's all right. I can move that around. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Over
Eao
Eao.
is going to step up right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use one of my tricks. I'm going to use minor hypnosis.
Okay.
So I'm going to need him to make a saving throw at advantage.
Who's the target on this one?
Oh, Husk.
Hosk. Okay.
I need him to make a wisdom saving throw at advantage because we're in combat.
Wisdom saving throw at advantage. Okay. That is, let me just check, a 21.
Yeah, no, that.
Unfortunately, his
succeeds.
first roll was a 5, second one 20.
Yeah, no, that succeeds.
Unfortunately, is that your whole turn, or is that an action or a bonus action?
Minor hypnosis is very much an action, so that will be. Yeah, that'll be my turn.
Okay. We go then to Ruz. That's true. You do have disengage as a bonus action if you want to back out of that situation.
No, I think I'm good here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm just going to run to there, and I'm going to do my usual dissonant whispers. I can't determine what I'm going to whisper in his ear, so just something that sets Hosk off.
Okay, so you do the
Your
full
mother was
lyrics
So that's a
to the
wisdom save
Moulin
again.
Rouge and a wisdom save for Hosk. That is a 15.
Okay. That will be excess, but he will still take
You still take
4 damage.
4 damage.
I'm sorry, I just rolled the wrong. Let me roll another d6.
I did not
Because I need to-
expect Husk to be this wise.
He's not. He's just rolling really well.
Sorry, Sorry. An extra. Let's say 5 damage, not 4.
Extra 5 damage. Okay.
Because I meant to do a second level, not first level slot.
Okay, that's an extra 5 damage. Okay. And because he's passed the save, he doesn't have to run away or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay, with Ruz done, we now go to grounded.
Okay. Which one's which again?
So Hosk is on the left, and Sundry Garrick's on the right, engaged with Gaby at the moment. They make a very cute
Okay.
couple.
Oh my god, I can't wait for the marriage. For the wedding.
I mean, we're going to kill, unless we kill them, of course.
You can always choose to knock out with your lethal damage.
Yeah. True. Okay, so I take my
Go for it, grounded.
I take out my hand crossbow then and shoot a wound on. I've completely forgotten which again, but the guy on the left.
Hosk. The barbarian.
Hosk.
The boss. Yeah. Okay. Boss Hosk.
Boss.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Roll to hit. We'll see if this beats Hosk's AC.
I don't think he would try and stop us from running moonshine, Nick.
That won't hit, I'm afraid. Bounces off of an open pectoral muscle. Just of iron.
Wait. Would it be too late to do the aim action, or should I have said that in the first place?
Has to be done first, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
what else have I got? In that case, how high is this rock?
That rock is about 6 feet high, five or 6, 5 mechanically.
Okay. I am just going to stick myself to the side of this rock and try to hide.
Okay. In that case, roll me a stealth check using your bonus action to hide as a rogue.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an 8.
You get the feeling you're not very well hidden because you are just stuck out the side of a rock, but it might work. It might work. Who knows? We go to Hosk. Hosk is extremely upset, and the only person within range is Eao. So Hosk is getting that big great axe out.
Oops, all Eao.
And here we go. First attack is a 15.
A 15 hits.
Okay, that is going to do. And actually, that's with advantage. Okay, yeah, definitely still hits. With advantage because he's attacking recklessly. So that is going to be 16 points of slashing damage. Eao, your speed has been lowered by 10 feet.
Oof. Okay, yeah, that hurts. But do you know what also hurts? Sand in his eyes. Constitution saving throw, please.
Constitution saving throw from the barbarian. Let's have a look. Oh wow, he fucked that. 10. Oh wait, no. Hang
How
on.
did a barbarian score a con?
13. Sorry, he's got proficiency in con saves.
Still doesn't make it. He is blinded until the end of his next turn, and his speed is 0.
Okay, well, he doesn't need to move, and he's going to continue attacking you with the remaining 2 attacks. But they will be now neutralized to non-advantage, cancelling out advantage and disadvantage, because he knows roughly where you are, but he can't see you, so that would normally be disadvantage. But because he's got advantage from reckless attacks, it goes to normal. So this one is a 19 to hit.
Oh yeah, that hits.
Barbarian's very good at hitting. Sorry, 18, but still hits. And that is going to be 6 slashing damage.
Okay.
And the third one. For the third one, he's going to do a grapple on you. Yeah, he's going to do a grapple on you. So it's going to be a contested roll against presumably your acrobatics. And that is a 15.
Against my acrobatics?
Or athletics if you want. Your choice.
Okay, that is a... What's my acrobatics at? That is a 12 plus 4, 16.
You successfully sidle out of it. He can't really see, so he's just sort of grabbing at the air. And you see that, and you're just straight out of the way. So you're fine, you're fine. Okay, that is That's his go, and we go to the top of the round to Corin. Yeah, and just remember, Eao, that your speed is reduced by 10 feet at the moment. Okay, over to Corin.
Okay, so there's that ensnaring strike that's happening now.
Yep, that's still active until you next hit or take some damage. In which case it'll be a Constitution saving throw to determine if it's still active.
Okay, so I don't need to do anything for that. We're just assuming that that's happening to them. Okay, Gaby is gonna take another swipe at...
in order to actually make the benefit of it, you have to make the attack roll. But it's when you next hit with an attack, the ensnaring strike applies.
Okay, well then, Corin's gonna come up to Hosk and smack on Hosk.
Okie dokie.
With the scimitar and sickle attack. So like a weird pair of scissors at the moment.
Okay.
That is a 23 with the scimitar.
Okay, so we'll do the scimitar first because several things are about to happen at once. So the scimitar definitely hits. So roll the damage for that, but then also bear in mind that your ensnaring strike is presumably happening on this. I believe ensnaring strike does not get affected by, it's not restricted to a ranged attack. So I think you're okay. So yeah, roll your damage.
Yep, so that is 6 slashing.
Okay, 6 slashing and a writhing mass of thorny vines appear around them. So they've got to make a strength saving throw or be restrained, which is fantastic. Restrained is a fantastic condition to put on people. So let me do the damage first. Okay, that's on them. Cool. And a strength saving throw, which they have advantage on, as well as proficiency. Okay, that is a 24. So that will beat your DC, unfortunately. So they're not restrained, and the vines shrivel away, I'm afraid. So that spell effect has ended on you for now. You have your bonus action if you want to put another spell effect on. You've got
for next time.
For next time. Or you can do ensnaring strike or your hunter's mark, either one. Or you've of course got healing if you want to apply that. I think all 3 of those are bonus actions, so really it's up to you. But that attack hits. The sickle doesn't, though.
Healing on Eao.
I would appreciate it.
Okay. Yep. So
if you have healing word, because cure wounds is an action.
I've got cure wounds.
Okay, well you'll be able to do that next time because that is a touch action and you're next to each other, so you can do that next time.
Yeah. Otherwise, Gaby is gonna have another go at Sundry.
Yep. Okay. Swiping at Sundry. That's not going to hit
13.
either. A 13's not going to hit either. Again, this thing is basically like it's like a dustbin. About 4 feet tall and entirely coated in metal. This guy's hard to beat.
Oh, hi.
He's got a shield
nice
as well.
to see you.
If that's helping, and he's just.
Can you please hit him? Yeah. Can you please hit this dude?
Is real life Gaby here? Hey, Gaby. And with that done, we go to Green Mane.
Alright, I am going to take advantage of this current positioning, get over in this bush, to strike Husk from behind.
Okay, you're striking a Husk from the bush. Very nice.
A long pole from the bush.
Okay.
And that's an advantage, right?
Yeah, you are on the other side, because your weapon's a reach weapon, you still get flanking with that.
Yeah, plus the whole other situation there. With him being blinded. Does that apply? Or
that would apply advantage as well, I believe, when you're blind.
But
everyone's effectively hidden from it. But it's advantage all. Like, there are 4 sources of advantage going on at the same time. You've got advantage.
Can we roll all advantage?
I mean, you can all roll advantage on Hoss because he is recklessly attacked anyway. So
no, I'm saying, can we roll all of those advantages?
No.
I mean, I already critted. I don't need another one.
You critted. Okay. Well, roll.
Yeah, I rolled the natural 1 and the natural 19.
Oh, I thought you meant you critted as in you critical hit. I was going to say, Jesus Christ, that'd be 2 in a row.
I mean, a 19 is a critical hit for me because he's cursed.
Ah, of course. Yes, you've got the curse on him. So, yes, you crit on a 19. Jesus Christ, you're a crit machine
my question
right
is, it does the... whatchamacallit? Was the last person I killed the person who fell down the waterfall?
Yes.
Do I still have that +1?
You have that for your first attack with that weapon. So, yes, you do.
Excellent. That doesn't really... That matters for damage.
It does. You'll add +1 to the damage, yes. It's functionally, for the first attack, a +1 weapon.
So that's gonna be...
Actually, functionally, it's a +2 weapon because you're a pact to the blade and all that. But
yeah, 18 plus 5 plus 2 damage. So that's 25 points of damage.
25 points of damage. And that's... is that magical or non-magical?
Magical.
Slashing?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But my weapon is magical.
Yeah, I don't know why I asked that. It doesn't matter. I just ask it out of habit because of Strahd recently, where it does matter. But on barbarians, it doesn't. So, yeah, that actually does a fair bit of damage, raking up Hosk's back there, and he is bleeding quite heavily now. He's looking pretty bloody, you could say. Yeah, and he's not.
Would
he's
you
not looking
say
great.
that both him and the dwarf are within 10 feet of me at this point?
Yes, they're both within 10 feet of you. Yeah, because space is non-Euclidean. Okay,
It's time for a roar.
do you get to do that? I thought that was an action.
That's a bonus action.
Then go for it. Which will be an intimidation check, I suppose, or a wisdom
that's
save. Wisdom save.
Wisdom save of DC 12.
Okay, I'll start with Sundry first. Sundry gets a 15. And Hosk, who has traditionally done quite well at this, let's see. Hosk gets a 2.
Oh, sure, now.
So he is frightened until
The
end of your next turn. Yeah.
Next turn.
Yeah.
I forget if Barbarian Rage prevents you from being frightened. I'm pretty sure you can be, though, so I'm going to rule it that way. So, yes, Hosk is frightened. Yes.
I mean, after taking 45 points of damage to 2 turns, I would be too.
Oh, yeah. He's got reason to be frightened. He rarely feels fear. This is an unusual feeling for him, and he looks quite confused, as all big, hairy men do when they're feeling a feeling they've not felt normally, such as love. So he's looking a little confused. His eyebrows are knitting together as he tries to process this new feeling of fear. But yeah, he's scared of the Lion Man. He's scared of the Lion Man. The Lion Man is freaking him out. Okay, we go to Sundry, who is not scared of the Lion Man and has in fact a massive cat in front of him that he's gonna try and punch again. He's got the fists out. And he's going to give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to give it a go. This time, though, he's going to use a feinting attack. So he's going to have advantage on his attacks against Gaby. As he sort of dodges to the left and then comes back with 2 punches. The first is... oh my god, really? Okay.
Oh, Gaby, you're sorry. Gaby's doing controls himself.
The first one with advantage is a 13, which won't hit. Which won't hit Gaby because Gaby's wearing armor. The second one with advantage. Oh, that hits. That's a 23. And so that is going to do. Ah, yeah, there it is. That's going to do that and that in the way of damage. Okay. That's going to do 11 bludgeoning damage.
Ooh.
He then just sort of hunches together, cricks his neck, and then he looks like he's going to go for it again. 2 more attacks.
Oh gosh.
So the first one that hits. That's a 20. And that is going to do 1. No, wait, no. He adds a plus. That's going to do 5 bludgeoning damage. And the second
Gaby's
one...
out.
Oh, okay. The second one, he's turning to Eao now for that last punch. swinging it round, a proper haymaker. It is a 22 to hit. And
Yeah,
that
that
is going to be 5 bludgeoning damage.
Not a lot. but-
Gaby, don't eat my lights, please.
He has just punched a giant hyena unconscious, and he's feeling pretty good about himself, but you feel like he probably can't do that again, where he comes out with 4 punches in 6 seconds. Okay, so we go over to Eao.
Hosk is looking pretty bloodied, you said?
Yeah, Hosk is looking bloodied. Comparatively, Sundry's looking fine. I'm pretty happy with himself.
Okay. So, first things first.
And straight at everyone's belly buttons.
Gaby, no.
I
know you're sad you've been knocked out, but...
Eao is going to attack Hosk.
Okay.
I'll go through. That is
advantage.
a 17 to hit.
Oi.
17 to
Advantage.
hit on Hosk. Oh yeah, you have advantage until Hosk go because
Still a 17.
well, it's still a 17. That's enough to hit though.
Okay, so that is... Come on. 13 damage.
Okay. So you stab away with a rapier, and it sort of nicks him on the side, draws a bit of blood, but he's still looking pretty good. Like he's got pretty hefty muscles in there from that attack. He's bloodied, but it doesn't feel like that did too much damage to him comparatively.
And although Eao is still pretty, is still slowed, she is still mobile, so she's going to take that free disengagement attack and hop over here. Wait, give me a moment to measure things out real quick.
Yep. Okay. While you're moving away, because you've got your free disengage, we go to Ruz unless you've got any other actions.
No, I do not.
Okay, over to Ruz.
Okay, if I go to there, that still counts as flank, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes. Yep, that's fine.
Okay, in which case I'm going to go there, and I'm going to take a swing at Hosk with my mace.
All right, swinging away at Hosk.
Need to get through. Yep, swinging away at Hosk.
Okay.
That is a nat 20.
Okay, roll. Well, roll your damage. Roll your damage.
Husk is
Oh,
not
no,
having
the
a
lovely
good
thing
day.
is,
No,
I
Hosk
get
has
to
been
take one of
critting a
those
lot.
damage dice and roll it again as well.
Sure.
Thank you, Orc.
Oh yes, yes. Half orcs do get to roll 1 damage die.
Okay, so
again,
that
yeah.
is 6. It's 18 plus a d6. That is 22.
22. Okay.
And on top, I'm going to burn one of my bardish dice
Okay.
to do extra slashing damage, which is an extra 6.
Okay.
So that is 28 in that turn.
He's not feeling great from
Hosk is
that.
dead?
He's not dead.
He's...
He's not dead, but he's not looking great at all. That was a
Although-
really heavy hit.
I will say I would prefer if we did not kill him, if possible.
That would be quite rude.
I think after this, it's where we start pulling the punches a tad.
Okay, grounded. Over to you.
Okay.
You are currently on the side of the
I-
rock.
Okay, so how's everyone doing HP wise, just to check?
Oh, I'm doing terribly.
I'm full health.
I'm doing fine.
Okay. Nope. Can't get to AO anyway. Am I flanking? Would you believe I completely forgot who the guy on the left is again?
Hosk.
Husk.
Hosk.
Hosk. Do I have flanking on Hosk because Corwin and?
Not where you currently are, no. Unless you've moved.
Okay.
It hasn't updated for me.
But I don't think he has had a go yet, so...
Oh, you've still got advantage anyway, because, it's not been its go yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you
In
won't
that
have
case,
flanking
I'll-
until you get into melee range.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. I'll just shoot him with my short bow then.
Okay, short bow away. With advantage, of course, because he's attacked recklessly. He's also blind.
Yay.
Actually, when does that blindness end? Is that at the end of your turn, Eao, or is that on the end of...
End of his.
End of his, okay.
Come on, Astral.
Just,
Come on, Astral. You can do
just
it.
roll it if you want.
Okay. Hey. Come through yet?
I'd assume it's probably not going to come through.
Yeah. Okay, that's an 18 to hit.
Okay, that will hit. Roll me some damage.
Right. So, that's... Where's my d6 gone?
You're going to need that
Okay.
one a lot.
Yes. Okay. So, base damage is 6 plus 2d6, 4, and 1. And I'll also use Wells from the Grave on
On Sundry Garrick, who's
Yes.
over to the right. Okay, so the arrow goes straight into his head and he falls backwards. Presumably knocked only unconscious by the arrow to his forehead. But he is, for all intents and purposes, unconscious.
What's he going to do? Suffer brain damage?
Oh,
It'll,
you said Sundry, not Husk, but
I mean, I will say statistically, you only have if you're shot in the head, you only have a 1 in 10 chance of actually dying.
Well, it just
Yeah.
depends on whether the person before said, I'm shooting the wound. Right, so, Whales from the Grave damage for Sundry Garrick.
Okay, that's a d6, so 3.
3 damage.
And he also had Ghost Scream at him.
As some ghosts run over to scream at Sundry. Probably about fists. Okay. With that, it would be Host's go, but
Fisting.
he's just collapsed. So we go back to Corin.
Corin is because I set up an ensnaring strike, so I should go over here and give him a seeing
Did you set
to
up
with
a
the
new one?
scimitar. I believe that's what I said at the end of last turn, that I was going to do another one.
You would have had the
Use your bonus
action to be able
for
to do
secret
it.
attack though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you attacked with your offhand, you can't cast a spell on top of that. The bonus action would have been used for the second attack.
Yeah,
But you
so
can set up
next
one
level
now
where
if you
can-
want. You can use your bonus action
Yeah.
right now to set it up. There's nothing wrong with doing that. That's actually the way it's kind of designed to be done. So you use your bonus action to cast a spell, and then you go ahead and attack. You can't use your offhand this time because you've used your bonus action, but you
Yeah.
can still do the main scimitar attack, which is the one most likely to hit anyway.
So we'll do that
Okay.
with Sundry. Obviously, I'm not going to hit the down man.
Okay.
That is a 15.
A 15 unfortunately does not hit Sundry. It's a tiny little post box. Now, you've still got that ensnaring strike applied. It's until you next hit something. So it'll still apply next turn, and you can do both attacks next turn because you'll have your bonus action. But for now, no luck, unfortunately. Okay, with Corin done, we go to Green Mane.
Alright, I will move across and swing at the back of the post box.
Okay, with advantage, of course, because you're flank. But no longer with the extra +1 for appeasing your patron.
Yeah, so that's Right, +6, 23 to hit.
Okay, that'll hit. Yeah, that'll hit.
Just barely.
And I no longer have the effects of my curse going for me either, so that's gonna be 5 points of damage.
5 points of damage. Okay.
Which is a 1 on the die.
Sundry's feeling minorly annoyed. Okay, it is now actually Sundry's go. And Sundry is going to use his deft movement. He's going to use his deft movement. And he's going to jump over towards Greenmane. And you can now do an attack of opportunity, Corin, if you would like.
Yes, please. Twice. Again.
Okay, the scimitar doesn't hit,
20.
I'm afraid.
Doesn't it?
Actually, no, it does. Sorry, no, it does. My maths is slightly off.
The 15. The 15 was my last
When you
one.
use deft movement, it's one of his maneuvers. It adds what he rolls on a D8 to his AC for the duration of his movement. But he actually only rolled a 2, so yeah, you actually do hit. But only just.
Yeah.
You got exactly what you needed to hit.
10 slashing damage.
10 slashing. That's very good.
He's finally taken something.
And importantly, does he get restrained by the vines that start to sort of creep up around him as he's moving? That's going to be a strength check from him. Strength save rather. Okay, yeah, that was a 25. He's okay. Unfortunately, both of these characters are very strong. Against any of the others, this would be a fantastic spell, but these two are the strongest two characters in the party, strength-wise. Not power-wise, but strength-wise. But he is over to Greenmane, and he's going in for a grapple, so that is going to be athletics contested against either your athletics or your acrobatics, Greenmane. And that is a 17.
18.
18! You shrug it off.
Yeah.
He grabs a fistful
Natural
of fur, but
16.
it just comes straight out. For his second attack, he is going to do it again. He's going to give it another go with his second hand. And swing out. And how the hell? That's a 17 again.
That's an 18 again.
Amazing. Another fistful of fur, but no luck. No luck. No luck for
Have I
Sunday
ever
Garrett.
told you the definition of insanity?
Okay, I am going insane. Speaking of the definition of insanity, we go to Eao, who is hiding in a bush. Well, actually, just standing in a bush.
Has my speed been restored?
Your speed is now back to normal, yeah. You good.
Okay, cool. 2, 3, 4. Stabby in the back.
Okay, with
As I do.
advantage, with flanking. Okay, that is not
That's
going to hit, I'm afraid.
But thankfully, I do not have to actually hit to get the I just have to make an attack.
Yep,
So.
to get your mobile feet. And we go to Ruse.
And my movement will let me go this far.
Okay, I'm gonna run into there.
Okay.
Actually, no, I won't. I'll stay back where I was. There. And I'll just whisper in his ear that Gimli was a more manly dwarf than you are.
He doesn't know who Gimli is, so I'm tempted to impose
he's like-
disadvantage. He has no idea what a Gimli is, so...
Disadvantage doesn't matter. Wisdom save, thank you.
Oh yeah, good point. Wisdom save. Alright. Sundry's wisdom is... How's a 4? Does that do it?
No.
You didn't have to give
Yeah,
Sandra
full
the
does it.
disadvantage.
It messes him up, not because of what you said, because he doesn't know who Gimli is.
Yeah, he's like,
should.
who?
But
Is this a famous dwarf? Okay, how much
13
damage?
damage
13?
and must use all of his... and he hasn't used his reaction yet, has he?
No, he's not.
In which case he needs to use all of his speed to move away from me.
Okay, he's going to go that way. 5, 10, 15. Yeah, 20. He's 5 feet further in the... Oh, no, 25. There you go. Green Mane, as you've not used your reaction, go for it.
And no advantage from this one, so that's going to be... Yeah.
Thought for a second you rolled a 20 again.
14.
14, that's not going to hit. Okay, so Sundry is now looking bloodied. Chips of armor coming off of him now. Revealing yet more armor underneath, but...
But you know, somewhere below that is a dwarf.
There's got to be a dwarf in there somewhere. Wherever it is, it's bleeding now. So with Ruz done, we go to grounded.
Okay.
Another boink.
Okay, so my options here. I could
sorry,
try
I did
and
not mean
heal
to-
Eao.
There you go.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I accidentally moved you when I was trying to move the map.
Oh, that's fine.
So then you
I could
can
just-
flame.
I could just shoot him, or... Okay, I'm going to hop off the rock, take a flying leap at him, and try and use my crowbar to pry his helmet off.
Whee!
That's
Okay, strength check.
Look at this ratio.
That's going to be contested against his
I was gonna say, if
athletics.
this works, definitely inspiration.
I'm using a crowbar, so I get advantage.
You do get advantage, yeah, with a crowbar.
Is that just a straight strength check?
Yeah, straight strength. This isn't athletics. You're not running track and field. So you've got to beat. No, that's not going to beat it.
Yeah, but I got advantage. Oh, come on.
That's still not going to beat it. Unfortunately, he has a 20 over here. Not a natural 20, but he's pretty good at athletics and strength saves. Yeah, unfortunately, the helmet stays on during combat for Sundry Garrick, and at
During
all
combat,
other times. Yeah. At all times, the helmet stays on. But
Even
he's
when
not happy about
crumbling
this.
with his, Okay, so I use my disengage action.
Okay, your bonus action
And,
disengage.
How much? Okay, so that was 50. And I try and just sort of, yeah, I've got 15 feet left, so I just sort of try and jump back on my rock.
Okay, you're just hopping back on the rock, looking very weird. It's like the Goblin King from Labyrinth. You're just stood there on the wall horizontally. You're not very far off the ground, I might add, because it's only 5 feet of rock here. You're just kind of like
I
there.
mean, she's
not
grounded.
just so like, sorry, thought you were someone else.
Smells very strongly of grass where you currently are, because your face isn't that far from the ground. But yeah, you just sort of stood there, looking terrifying and defying all the laws of physics. Okay,
And singing Dance Magic Dance.
over to Corin.
Okay. 30. We are
Okay.
trying to hit with this.
The ensnaring strike
I'm
is
gonna-
no longer applied because you have hit
Yep,
with it.
that's right. I'm going to do the scimitar and the sickle attack.
Okay, the scimitar does not hit, nor does the sickle. That's unfortunate. I think that's a natural 2 on the scimitar there, and
Yep.
yeah, natural 4 on the sickle. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But that's just the dice sometimes just hate you. I've seen worse. Honestly, I've seen worse for someone before, but not much worse. Okay, over then to Green Mane.
Alright. So I'm gonna kindly run over here and slap him with a glaive. Which is... I'm gonna
Slap,
make that
little
helmet
love tap.
ring.
Okay, you can slap him with the glaive. Roll me an attack, please.
That's a 14.
14 won't hit. It rings off the helmet, but
That was
He
the
doesn't
plan,
get
was to
shit.
ring the helmet, yeah.
okay, with that done, we go to Sundry. Sundry's looking at a Corin right now. He's no longer afraid of Green Mane, and he is
He was
going
never.
to strike.
He was never, that was Husk.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, it was Resides, Dissonant Whispers that made him run away. Okay, has he used all of his... No, he's got one more. Okay, so he's going to use a pushing attack on Corin.
Whee!
Oh, actually, he declares that when he hits. So firstly, let's see if he hits. The first one, that's a 17 to hit.
I'm a 16, so that's a hit.
So that's going to be a pushing attack. And that is going to be...
Out of character, you prick!
13.
Out of character.
We would have been friends!
13 bludgeoning damage. That fist goes straight into your feathery face and knocks you back 10 feet away from the
bush.
My beak!
Pushing push into the bush.
Oh, actually, no, it's a strength save to determine if you get knocked back. So, yeah, roll me a strength save, please. You might be fine. You might just stand there and just take it.
Sure. Come on. 14.
No, unfortunately. The DC was 15. You were very close. But you are going to move 15 feet back. So you're going to be over in the bushes, sort of over here where you'll hit the rock. He's then going to move towards you, Greenmane, and he's going to attempt once more to grapple you. Who knows? It might work this time.
He just wants to hug the big lion.
This time it is an 18.
Someone
time
needs
it's
to teach
13.
him the
13.
definition of
Okay, he's got you by the arm now. You are grappled. You cannot move, unless you eventually break it.
Can I hug him back?
That's his go. You can attempt to grapple back if you want on your turn.
No, I was just asking if I can hug him.
That would be still a grapple. Okay, over to Eao.
It's a me. Okay, so
Mario?
Mario.
sadly,
Imagine if he just suddenly showed up.
Sadly,
jumped on
I am not
everyone.
Mario.
Oh.
I do have a sharp stick though.
Ooh.
Woohoo!
That is not going to hit, but you do have advantage actually, and that's still not
that's
going to hit,
not gonna hit
unfortunately. It's really hard to get a rapier through like plate armor, and that's why this armor's so expensive, especially with shield.
Yeah. And give me a quick moment.
Okay, Ruz, you're going to be up next, so start plotting your move. I presume it's Dissonant Whispers. Start plotting something cool to say.
Okay, no, that'll be my turn.
Okay, Ruz, onto you.
In which case, Ruse is going to move to there, just so they're a bit closer. And may all of your gold turn to lead.
Ooh.
Does he have any gold?
Okay, so that's
Not
going to be a
anymore,
wisdom
it's all
save. That is a 14 on the wisdom save.
That just makes it.
Just makes it, okay. How many
So
level
that
1
is
spell
7
slots have you got left at this point?
4.
7 damage.
I haven't used my level 1 spell slots yet.
Oh, have you been doing all those at level 2?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. How many level
I'm
2
not
spell
stupid.
slots
I know I need
have
to do
you
damage.
got? Jesus.
I'm a bard.
Yeah, fair enough. Full casters, I'm never used to it. Okay, he's still not looking great, but he's still up. And with that done, we go to Grounded.
Okay.
God, I don't know how you would have made him run away from me if he hadn't have succeeded that wisdom save.
Just been off the map, and we're just saying, oh, he's 15 feet in that direction. There would have then been 2 attacks of opportunity, and he may not have survived that, to be honest.
I have a fantastic plan for my next
Okay,
turn.
so I'm going to move over here. Point my hand crossbow at his unconscious friend, and shout. So, can we just talk about this?
Roll me
While sort of gesturing
intimidation.
very, okay.
Because this is definitely intimidation. I will say roll it with advantage, though, because you are standing over the body of his, as historians would put it, very close friend. And standing over his
19.
partner's probably too
His
strong a
brother,
word
he
for
wants
Hosk.
to own
Hosk
a
is a
house
bit more
with.
casual than that, but certainly there are
roommate.
feelings. Not roommate, but more than roommate, but less than a life partner sort of thing. Hosk is
Best
very
friend?
open.
Cuddle party.
With an intimidation of 19, though, that's gonna get past, I think. Yeah, that's gonna work. Okay, so he stops. He stops, lowers his weapons, and by that I mean he holsters his fists, and says, all right.
Just puts his hands in his pockets like nothing happened.
Holsters his fists and says, all right, what is it you want then? What are your demands?
Okay. Start with, why'd you take the silver?
It's silver. Does it need explaining? It buys things.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, do you have any better motivation than that? Is it?
Do I need one?
We're all hard for the same.
Just
Yeah,
greed?
we just, it just feels kind of mean to leave us left in the lurch. We're all hard for this as well, and
I'm
yeah.
already splitting it between 5. I'm not
Sounds
splitting it
fair.
between 10.
Yeah, some professional.
I lean over. I lean on him, putting my elbow on his head. Honestly, I respect it.
Getting very close to rolling initiative again, but I think he's going to allow it for now.
I can read your mind.
He's going to look at you a little worried.
You
know
don't
what?
read, Corin.
Just for the shits and giggles, I'm gonna use message to say, and I can too.
Okay. You can do that. Yeah, no, there's nothing stopping you doing that. You can absolutely do that. His eyes light up a little, and he's a little about that. You know, if anyone found out that you've got mind magic, wouldn't be us they'd be after, would it? They wouldn't care about a bit of silver then. When there's someone like you on the run.
I'm gonna lightning lure him.
Is he saying this through the message link or out?
No,
in the
he's saying
open?
that out loud, straight at you.
Yeah.
Looking straight at you. You know what they do to people like
In
that?
which case, yes. So, why do you think that threatening me would allow you to live?
He takes that. You know what? Roll intimidation as well. He's a stubborn man, but he's not an idiot. If you'd done this with Hosk, you might be back straight into initiative. But Sundry has his wits about him.
14.
That's enough. I get your meaning. So we can come to a deal. What sort of deal are you thinking about? Seems I'm making the calls these days.
Start with
You
where
take-
you.
Okay. I'll offer you the deal. You take half the silver, you don't ever go back to the city, you run.
Half, you say?
Half. And we get to keep the cart.
I tell you what, you leave us with the cart. You get half the silver. You leave us with that car. It's still going to be useless to you anyway. Something's fucked with the wheel. But you leave us, we won't go back to the city. And we won't be any problem with you. As long as we don't see you again. But you come for us, and you'll come for all of us at once. And we are not an easy fight together.
I feel there's a huge flaw in either way we can do this, and that's a lot of
Basically, we're
silver to
offering
transport
you.
without a cart.
That was the point of leaving them without the cart. There is extra to this plan if it goes through.
Unfortunately, you've not communicated that with anyone, so they're
I was gonna
currently
say-
feeling this one out loud.
In which case,
I feel like nobody here wins in this situation because
just because the schemer would understand it more, I will use message again to just send a message to Aao going, if we can get them stuck here with the silver, we can send the guards back for them.
Message back. The guards are going to arrest the first people who appear with silver.
Why would we take the silver in to begin with? Only one of us needs to go in to point out where they are.
Grounded, wait, no, she can't hear this anyway.
Yes, she can't hear this. This is all.
Grounded can just poke host with a bolt.
I've made my deal. Very, very clear. What do you say?
I mean, this movement. It's kind of like a notice
Let me
card.
confer with my colleagues and we'll get back to you in a second. Just stay over there.
I'm hardly going anywhere.
I thought maybe you'd like to go out for a tea or something sometime.
In which case, all huddling up over, like, here.
Or Husk's body.
So we can,
All right, you're hiding around.
no,
behind
away
a rock.
from Husk's body.
Just like whispering to each other. Psst, psst, psst.
Yeah, I'm just, while we're doing this, I'm just sort of patching him up, just so he doesn't bleed out.
But yeah, just letting the others in on the plan as well, to see if we can get it going.
Of course, I'll bring some pretzels.
Look, I'm just saying, this plan probably has a few flaws in it. The city guards already waiting, and like not like the normal guys, the really nice ones are going to be saying they're waiting for somebody to appear with silver.
I mean, we don't need to walk in with the silver straight away.
And there's also the issue of Husk is going to wake up eventually. And do you really think Sundrick will be able to keep control of everyone after Husk reawakens? This deal lasts until the moment he wakes up.
Be a shame to waste that opportunity.
Do you have any other plans? Any other ideas for how we can get past this? I was just trying to do this with as minimal bloodshed as we could.
Honestly, at this point, why not stick to the original plan? Change the deal to make it to where we complete the job as is. They don't know we've already turned them in.
Do you know what? Yeah, let's run that by them and see what they say.
You back from your clubhouse meeting?
We are.
Yeah, and we've got a different offer for you.
Did you not find my joke funny?
I found it kind of amusing.
Though you are in the same club, technically.
I don't have any cookies left to give you today.
I like you.
I found it very
We'll get on
clever.
well. We'll get on well. We can do a deal. So, you'll counter offer.
Okay.
We do have a second proposal. We finished the job, as is. We finish the job, everyone goes their separate ways.
Together.
Yeah. Just take the silver back to the city. Give it to the guildmaster. We all go our separate ways.
We get paid.
And this is going to be a high-paying job regardless. We won't be getting as much, but we're going to be getting quite a bit.
Plus, we get paid the next job we do as well.
I mean, we all go our separate ways.
And there's a completely bald head there, and he just sort of scratches everything. You make some sense, honestly. I do like a path of least resistance when one presents itself. But you are forgetting one problem.
Mm-hmm.
And he gestures at Grounded. Kill the butcher. The moment he wakes up, your plan is ruined. And while I'm a fan of him, let's put it that way, I don't want him getting me killed for no reason.
Will you be able to rein in the other two?
Easy. They listen to me more than him anyway. It's just when he gets a bit axy, they tend to fall in line. But if he's out of the picture, well, and especially as they don't know what did him in, I presume we can all keep a secret.
It was a rough fight, but things got out of hand. We came to an understanding.
They know what
Shame
he gets
about
like when he's in a fight. He gets very, very single-minded, very hard to stop him. No one would really, really look you wrong for having to put him down. But you do have to put him down.
Okay, Rounder takes her hand crossbow and points it at him instead. No.
Well, hold on there. He raises his shield a little. I'm speaking sense and you know it.
I'm just going to turn around and throw one of the daggers I have on me at Hosk.
Okay.
Wait. Before you do, Lai was trying to say something.
Yeah.
What's it called? Because is there anything that you can do in terms of your mind control that can do something to Hosk in terms of his memory or?
Yeah, I don't have that level of mind control.
Snap, because otherwise I'd be like.
Otherwise I would have thought of that as well, and I can keep them under control.
I guess.
I thought your helm could cast suggestion.
I'd say hours, and then afterwards he knows.
Okay.
And even then, he knows during the time.
Oh yeah.
He can't
do anything.
I also can't force him to do something he wouldn't do anyway, I believe.
Okay, well then Corin's just gonna say one of the famous one-liners of, "I haven't practiced medicine for years, and I'm blind in one eye, but I know a dead body when I see one."
Excellent. Now I like her. She speaks my language.
This is what you get.
What? So anyway, I'm throwing one of my daggers at Hosk, so...
Okay. Just make me a ranged
you have
attack
a
at
mutual
disadvantage
secret, then.
because you are currently attacking a prone creature.
So an attack at disadvantage, you say?
Mm-hmm.
That is a 9.
That thuds into the dirt next to him.
Yeah. It's the thought that counts.
Beautiful.
And the count that top.
Do you know, just having said that, I'm just going to walk over and just stomp on his face.
Okay. I'm going to say you don't need to do an attack roll for that because you're almost guaranteed to hit him, and I doubt you would miss, and you would just keep trying anyway until you hit.
Yeah.
He dies in a brutal and bloody fashion as you stamp on his head several times. Well, twice is how many you need to do to kill him. But to be honest, that was always going to be the Butcher of Craven Rock's fate. He was always going to die in a very bloody and violent fashion. And Sundry nods at you and goes, "You know how to get things done then. Very good. We have a deal?"
Yes.
We go to the city, we
keep
turn
our
into
secret,
silver,
we keep
we all
yours.
go our separate ways.
Well, all right, I can get behind that. And he gestures you to follow him, and you head off towards the cart.
Colin, can you see the artificer at this point?
Giving up on the idea of a peaceful summer, relaxing in a hammock with a good book without a care in the world.
The artificer is no longer visible.
Yes.
He had
Also,
disappeared
just
a while
before
back.
we're
Sorry, you were
just before we're leaving, I'm going to take Hosk's battle axe as a trophy.
Okay, you can keep his battle axe. It is a great axe. It's a standard great axe. It's not magical or anything, but it is still a great axe. It's a great axe. And yeah, you're
It's a great axe.
You catch up with the cart, and Sundry goes, "Oi, Oscar's gone. I had to make a deal in a very emerging situation. These," and he swallows for a second. wonderful people will be accompanying us. They are going to finish the mission as designed, and then after that we will go our separate ways. If anyone has a problem, you can go and take it up with Hosk. Like, but where is Hosk? He is 6 feet under. And you will be too. Understood?
In his son's summer house every spring.
I don't think we took the time to bury him.
No, you
He
didn't.
may just
but
be like-
he's-
We don't need to mention that.
Olorel flicks her hand open, and a little flame in the shape of a fox that is about the size of a finger dances on her hand, and she blows it out and goes, "Fine, whatever. Let us just go."
On the bright side, you could have your food back.
That's true. They've got
No,
supplies.
it's gone.
it's all been eaten. It is all been
Fractions
eaten.
is left.
I mean, you could have food.
I now
just thought
imagine
that-
that it literally had a barrel of popcorn that Granite has been eaten.
I just sort of turn the barrel upside down and like one ration just drops out.
It's that little bit of leather jerky from Hosk's pocket. You've caught up. You've caught up with the cart, and you have defeated 2 members of the A-team in combat. But you're still surrounded by 4 of them now. You are in the Viper's Den, but for now, it seems like you've got a deal. And as it is 9:45, now is a great time to go for a break. So we're going to be back in, let's say, 15 minutes at 10 o'clock, where we will finish off tonight's story. Because there's so many of you now, there's now 9 of you in the party, nothing I throw at you is either going to be interesting or it's going to take fucking ages. We are going to essentially say that you're in a large enough party that nothing is reasonably going to try to mess with you, and you're going to get there relatively unaccosted. But as Ruzad says, you're going to try and go to stop just outside the city before we continue, so we're not going to like fast travel all the way in. And Eao, you were about to say something, sorry about that.
Yes, I was going to recommend to both groups, due to the general lack of trust, that when keeping watch at night, each group sets one person to both groups set one person to watch at all times, so neither group can sneak away with the cart.
Yeah, that's a good.
That makes sense to me. I agree. Sundry's happy. My voice isn't happy with Sundry, but there we go.
That's what you get.
So the next 1, 2, 3, 4. The next 4 days pass uneventfully. Do consider yourself all to have long rested, and you find yourselves outside the city gates.
Gaby's back.
Gaby's back. Yep. Gaby's back. Everyone's back. I think I've got a button that can just like full heal Gaby.
Well,
for
actually,
you. There we go.
What I was going to suggest is from the last campsite just before the gates.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to say, do you know, we'll pack everything up here. We'll meet you in the city. We're that close. We trust you this far.
No, that's a terrible idea. That is a terrible idea. The moment we do that, they're going to run. We go into the city together.
Yeah, do you remember the fact that anyone walking in with the silver is about to be arrested?
I hope you said that.
I'm doing this out of character, so.
No, I'm perfect. I'm out of character. I know what I'm doing.
Okay, fair enough. Oh,
Grounded says and tries to say to Eao and thieves can't. Just for the record, there's a city guard who really, really doesn't like me.
So Thieves' Cant is not a language so much as it is drawn symbols.
Yeah.
So I would love to know what these symbols look like. Like a full language.
So...
You're just writing it in common at this point.
I mean, it can be hand language as well.
Yeah. I mean, the rules
yeah,
say...
thieves can't is also sign language.
Sign language.
Yeah. It can also be... I think the rules say it can also be hidden in spoken statement, but it takes 4 times as long.
Yeah, Thieves' Cant can be a language hidden within another conversation, but it takes longer to do.
Okay, so you're having an extremely long conversation about something very inane, but you're getting the message across gradually. Yeah. I mean, you've got 5 days to do this. There's plenty of time to do that. You don't have to have it all in one go.
Yeah. I just pretend I'm talking about my fight in the Bloody Rose for the champion.
We're talking about the good old pit fighting days.
Yeah.
Then in this case, I would like to, throughout this conversation, somewhat mentioned that there has been a slight change of plans from the Low Marshal, and we're going to be entering with them.
Fair enough.
Granted, the only person who I'm able to tell this to is grounded.
I mean,
Okay,
I
how
would say
that?
after hearing this that Ruse would be doing the little message trick of, okay, what's going on? But
How did you manage that? I mean, I thought the sending stone was only single use.
Helm of telepathy.
that's part of the reason why Ruse would be going, hang on a sec, what the hell's going on?
Meanwhile, Queenman is going to inquire. Go ahead.
I mean,
Sorry.
if you inquire, that's going to be harder to do this sneakily.
Yeah, like with the message, it's literally just.
No, I would have
Nobody
been
can tell we're
asking
talking.
Sandre if their team has any plans of continuing on along with the Guild of Icons.
Oh, right.
Then telepathically, I'll tell you that I was contacted and there has been a change in plans. We're entering the city with them.
Okay, so I say, okay,
I'm going to
but,
trust you just at this time, although I'm a bit wary.
Have I ever
Maybe.
steered you wrong?
So I say, okay, but if but if this goes pear-shaped, remember, I did notice that there was a very large amount of silver missing from the cart beforehand.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I don't know anything.
Just out of character, some
Yeah, that's
information
basically
on sending stones. Anyone can contact you with a sending stone. You don't have to have one
so
that's
it's
still
only
working.
Okay, yeah.
It's just that you can contact literally anyone with a sending stone, and then it stops working after that. But you just do a message into their head directly.
Yeah, so all that matters is that ours was one-time use.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it could still receive messages.
Yeah. Well, you
Fair
don't
enough.
even have to have one to
Plus-
receive one. You literally anyone can.
Oh, just hey.
Yeah, just hey. I used it in a campaign
Plus,
once
we
to
have
send
seen
a
ones that
bagpipe
exist.
performance directly into a vampire's head while he was trying to sleep.
So it's pretty much just unlimited distance message.
Yeah, it's the spell sending.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You up, girl?
With less limits, I guess.
Okay, so you're approaching the gates. Are you all then going in with them? There appears to be banners laid out. There's a lot of confetti getting ready to be thrown. There's a fanfare going on, and the banner says, "Welcome home, heroes of Karaki." The street is lined with very posh-looking. You know the difference, particularly as a sword college bard, between a knight who is dressed for war and a knight who's dressed in very fancy regalia, in armor that looks more like it's there for function than form. You know, it's got a load of gold all over it that's not really going to work as armor because gold's a very soft metal. It's got a load of feathers and plumage and everything like that. There's banners going on, all sorts of that, lining the street, and you can also see at the head is the Low Marshal, Karos Lightminster. He looks oddly sober. But perhaps he just hasn't gotten
I'm
started
just going to
yet.
say I've still got things I need to deal with outside of the city. I'll meet everyone back at the guild later on, and I'll just walk right past the gate, just out into the wilderness still.
Okay. With your position? Okay, fair enough. We will deal with you in a second. All right, the rest of you. Are you coming on?
Okay.
Okay, the carriage rolls on in, and everyone starts cheering, and there's a fanfare, and Karos is stood there, and he says, friends, welcome back, the heroes of Karaki, saviors
So,
of
Marshal,
Karaki.
it's a pleasure to see you.
He walks over to you, Eao, and whispers and goes, "Who were they again that were arresting?"
It's
I'm terrible with names. I'm so sorry. Just point at them and we'll have it done.
It's the Genasi, the dwarf. What are the races, the other two?
Genasi, dwarf, tiefling is Ansel, and who we got left? Hang on, in my head, who we got left? There's a fourth one.
Halfling.
Halfling, yeah, it's
male
Arden
Think
Christian.
about the tiefling.
Arden Christian.
The male tiefling and the halfling.
And you go, okay, and points at the right ones. Very good, very good. Shakes your hand. A hero, ladies and gentlemen, a hero. And then, as he's raising his hands, he goes, guards, and the knights all step forwards and encircle the lot of you, and he points at the male tiefling, the Genasi, the halfling, and of course, Sundry Garrick. Those go free, arrest the rest.
Who could have seen this coming?
And they take the cart.
Who could have seen this coming? Hi.
Presumably everyone could see this coming. The guards swarm in, and they surround you, basically. It is up to you if you would like to react or if you would like to be taken. You do have a man on the outside currently who might be able to
I
effect the
disarm
rescue.
myself.
You disarm yourself. You're going to send the blade back to the pocket dimension, which is a good idea because that means you can retrieve it whenever you want.
Okay, I am going to use one of my dice, one of my magician's dice, to use the blend in action.
Okay, you're going to try and sneak into the crowd. What's the ruling exactly of blending?
As an action, you may expend a magician's die to add the result to any dexterity stealth checks you make for 1 minute.
Okay. You are currently surrounded by quite a mess of people. Typically, only halflings can hide behind people. It's actually a racial feature of theirs. And only one half of the halflings as well. Quarterlings.
Oh,
I mean, I would assume it would be as people are moving and reacting, I fall into the crowd.
Tell you what, you can attempt to do that. I think that makes sense. Roll me a stealth check, please.
A stealth check. And I'm assuming I still add my magician's die to this.
Yes. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so that is a 19 plus 4 plus 7.
That's 28 or something. Either way, it's pretty high. It's more than that. I think it's 30.
I think it's 30.
Yeah, I think it's 30.
Okay. Round.
As they charge in, you slip back at the same time and just sort of dodge out and into the shadows. However, the rest of you, you are getting arrested.
I let out a string of profanity in Infernal and Knowlish.
Okay, that slightly weirds out the guards, but they will take you.
simply turn to the right once you've passed this building.
Okay. As you are cuffed, and you are brought into a wagon that has been hiding into a corner and brought out. Is essentially a police wagon. You're shoved into there and you are driven up the main street towards the bastion. Corin, as you are being led in, you see off the side street your orcish friend. He is looking confused, but winks at you.
Where have you got your stuff? You can't clean the place with your hands.
Grounded, what you see is a very happy-looking city watch guard. Not the same one as who was winking at Corin. Meanwhile,
That would have been extremely awkward if it was.
I used minor illusion just to make it look like he wet himself.
okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. He looks like he's wet himself. He looks down and he's like, what? And no, he's not too happy about that. He's not too happy about that. But you've ruined his special day now. But he'll see you hang, so he's not too upset. Meanwhile, Ruzad, you are currently outside the city gates. You do not know what has happened.
Well, I was just going to disguise myself and walk in, so...
Okay. You are going to see what's happened, but you are currently disguised. They are expecting a half-orc, so you may find yourself having to lay low. And Eao, you'll have to lay low as well, because they do know what you are.
I would, if I wasn't disguising myself as that stocky elf.
Yeah, you may still have to lay low, unless you're disguising yourself permanently.
Oh, yeah, you mean lay low.
In general, not right now. Right now, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're basically a tourist.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have any
Thank
problem.
God I have somewhere I can lay low for now.
You're slipping through the shadows. You are very well hidden in the crowd, and no one spotted you. You do recognize a stocky elf, but it's too much of a crowd really for you to be able to see them much more than for half a second, and he's out of sight as well.
I will say I will look at basically a random person in the crowd as I'm going through, and use my top hat to disguise self.
Okay. You also use disguise self, and you are again a random person. It's weird. There's two twins there, but they're nowhere near each other, so no one's really.
This is just like I notice a person as I'm passing through, and I'm still going.
Yeah, that's fine, and you're pretty well
hopefully
hidden.
not the stocky elf in the priest's robes.
Okay, I have one quick question.
Yeah.
Can I cast something with a somatic component while covered?
No. The hand symbols typically required are pretty in-depth for somatic. So somatic is hands. It's doing all sorts of things. The first thing guards do with anyone they capture is stop you casting somatic spells. Like they've got wizards. They know how this shit works. They're not going to let you cast spells
your hands
when
would
you're
pretty
captured.
much be.
You're going to be
like
completely locked together. You can.
I was really hoping. To help fill out the grounded illusion with a little bit of prestidigitation.
I like the idea, but unfortunately, no. Your hands are bound properly. Okay. But you do know that in the wagon with you, you're missing two people. Where's Eao? Where's Ruzad? Presumably, they're going to come for you, or leave you to die. Who knows? That's your fate hangs in the balance of the two most morally grey members of the party. So, who knows what might happen as we go to episode 5 next time. And that is how we are ending the session today.